Alex Eala has touched down at the Linz Open, and she has wasted absolutely no time announcing herself to the world. A masterful, controlled, and thoroughly convincing win over Julia Grabher, the hometown hero, the crowd favorite, the player the home supporters were counting on to deliver something memorable on familiar soil. But Eala had zero intention of playing the timid visitor, the one who crumbles under the weight of expectation. She came here with a purpose. She came here to send a message. And that is exactly what she delivered. This was not merely a first-round result. This was a proclamation. This was Alex Eala planting her feet on a clay court for the first time this season and telling the entire WTA field that she is sharp, she is a threat, and she is not going anywhere. Because the thing that makes Eala so compelling to watch is simple. She does not do half measures. She does not tiptoe into tournaments, looking to find her rhythm gradually. She steps onto the court already dialed in, already razor-focused, already operating at a pitch that unsettles opponents from the opening exchange. And that is precisely what we witnessed against Grabher. From the very first point, Eala knew her game plan. She had a blueprint. She followed it faithfully, and even when Grabher dug in and tried to turn the contest into the kind of gritty, emotionally charged battle that the roaring home crowd was desperately willing her toward, Eala never flinched. She stayed the course, calm and completely in command. The match itself was a genuine pleasure to follow from beginning to end. Right from the opening game, both players signaled that this would be a proper contest. Grabher is no pushover. She knows these courts intimately. She had thousands of fans at her back, and she was not going to surrender without a fight. Eala seized the early advantage, taking the first 2 points and stamping her authority immediately. But Grabher, to her enormous credit, refused to buckle. She scrapped her way back, leveled things up, and pushed the contest all the way to 3 games apiece as the first set reached its midpoint. That was the moment that revealed everything about Alex Eala. Because at 3-all, with momentum nudging slightly in Grabher's direction and the atmosphere building inside the arena, Eala made a choice. She was going to seize this match with both hands, dismantle Grabher's resistance, and leave no doubt about who deserved to walk away with the victory. She made good on that intention. Every point was fiercely contested. Every game went down to the wire. But Eala found a way through each and every time, eventually taking that opening set 6-4. A set won through sheer quality, through relentless determination, and through the kind of mental clarity that separates the very good from the truly great. The second set unfolded in similar fashion, only with even greater authority from Eala. She burst out of the gates, winning 3 consecutive games to immediately put Grabher under pressure. But Grabher fought back once more. The crowd roared her on. She found something deep within herself and began clawing back into the set, and for a brief moment it looked as though she might breathe new life into the contest. Eala slammed that door shut without hesitation. She pressed harder at exactly the right moment, raised her level precisely when required, and closed out the second set 6-3. Dominant, authoritative, and utterly convincing. This was no fortunate escape. This was no win that inflated Eala's performance beyond what it deserved. This was a display of genuine class on clay, a surface many had been watching closely to see how she would handle it coming off a hard-court stretch. The answer she gave was emphatic. Not for a single moment did Eala look out of place on the surface. Not once could you point to a passage of play and say the clay troubled her. She moved with fluency, constructed points with intelligence, and navigated the slower conditions with an ease that suggests her game is ideally suited to this surface. The clay season is still in its infancy, and already Eala is shaping up as one of the most dangerous names in the draw. In victory, she showed the side of herself that her supporters have come to cherish. She was gracious. She took genuine time to acknowledge Julia Grabher for the battle she brought to the match, and these were not hollow pleasantries. She meant every word. She recognized her opponent's quality, respected the difficulty of the contest, and offered her rival sincere well wishes going forward. That is the full picture of Eala, a brilliant competitor and a genuinely wonderful representative of the sport the Filipino fans in attendance absolutely erupted. Eala turned to face her supporters, Those remarkable people who had traveled or gathered to cheer her on in a foreign land, and she addressed them in Filipino. She spoke their language, acknowledged them directly, poured warmth and affection over every single one of them, and made each person in that section feel truly seen and valued. Because for Eala, the bond with her fans is not a carefully managed public relations exercise. It is authentic. It is deep. And it is one of the most genuinely moving threads running through her entire story. She then urged her supporters to come back the following day, because tomorrow the stakes climb higher. Tomorrow the intensity cranks up several notches. Tomorrow, Alex Eala walks out to face Julia Ostapenko. And the context surrounding that match is nothing short of enormous. The last time these two met, Eala was the underdog, plain and simple. Ostapenko was the established force, brimming with confidence, operating at the top of her game, and on paper the outcome looked straightforward in the Latvian's favor. Eala had other ideas entirely. What followed was one of the most gripping and unforgettable matches in recent memory. Eala found herself 4 points down in the opening set, staring directly into the possibility of losing it altogether. A less resilient player would have folded right there, and then. But resilience is one of Eala's defining qualities. She clawed her way back from that deficit with a composure and a fighting spirit that was genuinely breathtaking to witness. She kept her nerve under suffocating pressure, executed the biggest points with ice running through her veins, and eventually took that first set in a tiebreak, 7 points to 6. Quite extraordinary. The second set was every bit as dramatic. Eala constructed a commanding 4-point cushion and appeared to be cruising toward the finish line. But Ostapenko refused to go quietly. She battled back, erased the deficit, and dragged the tension right back to the center of the match. And this is precisely where the mental difference between these two players became the deciding factor. Ostapenko was fighting on instinct, raw and aggressive, running on emotion. Eala was composed. She was clear-headed. She found a path through once again, claimed the second set 7 points to 6, and sealed a victory that sent genuine shockwaves reverberating across the entire WTA world. And as if that were not enough, Eala followed it up by defeating EGA in the very next round. That is the caliber of player Ostapenko will be stepping out against tomorrow. Now Ostapenko has her shot at revenge. But look at the form Eala is carrying into this match. Look at what she produced against Grabher today. She was dominant. She was composed. She glided across the clay with beauty and purpose. And she wrapped that matchup without a single flicker of uncertainty from start to finish. Ostapenko, meanwhile, arrives carrying her own pressures, her own mental battles, and the uncomfortable knowledge that Eala has had her number before. The momentum belongs to Eala. The form belongs to Eala. The confidence belongs to Eala. And tomorrow she has another stage on which to show the world exactly why she is one of the most exciting and dangerous players on tour right now. The clay season is underway. Alex Eala has announced herself, and she is only just warming up. But before we close things out, we want to hear from you. What did you make of Eala's performance against Grabher today? Was this the commanding statement when you had been expecting, or did the manner of it catch you off guard? And looking ahead to tomorrow against Ostapenko, do you believe Eala has her number once again and closes her out for a second time? Or does Ostapenko come back sharper, hungrier, and take her revenge? Who are you backing for that second-round showdown? Drop everything in the comments below. We read every single one. And if tomorrow has you fired up, let us know right now.